Sean Diddy Combs, a name synonymous with hip-hop royalty and entrepreneurial success, now stands at the center of a federal trial that has shocked the entertainment world. Accused of orchestrating a criminal enterprise involving sex trafficking, racketeering, and other serious offenses, Combs faces the possibility of life imprisonment if convicted. The trial commenced on May 5, 2025, in Manhattan Federal Court. Prosecutors alleged that from 2008 to the present, Combs led a criminal enterprise that engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, and other crimes. The indictment paints a picture of a man who used his influence and resources to exploit and abuse women over a span of nearly 2 decades. Central to the prosecution's case is the testimony of Cassie Ventura, Combs' former partner. Ventura recounted a harrowing relationship marked by physical abuse, coercion into drug-fueled sexual encounters, and threats of blackmail. She described being forced into freak-off parties and detailed instances where Combs allegedly assaulted her, including an incident where he slashed her eyebrow and another where he kicked her while she cowered in a bathroom stall. Supporting Ventura's claims, her mother, Regina Ventura, testified about paying Combs $20,000 to prevent the release of an explicit video allegedly used to blackmail Cassie. Regina expressed fear for her daughter's safety, stating that Combs demanded the money because he was unhappy about Cassie's relationship with another man. Sheree Hayes, an exotic dancer known as the Punisher, testified about participating in multiple freak-off events orchestrated by Combs. Hayes described scenarios where Combs would observe the activities while wearing disguises and giving instructions. David James, Combs' former assistant, provided insight into the rapper's alleged drug use, stating that Combs consumed various pills daily, including ecstasy tablets shaped like President Barack Obama's face. James also described a toxic work environment and detailed instances of Combs' erratic behavior. Federal agents presented evidence collected during a raid of Combs' hotel suite at the Park Hyatt, New York. Items found included baby oil, pink ketamine, $9,000 in cash, and other paraphernalia suggestive of sexual events. Additionally, agents testified about recovering parts of AR-15 rifles with defaced serial numbers from Combs' residence, indicating attempts to prevent law enforcement from tracing the weapons. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. His defense team argues that the relationships and encounters were consensual and that the allegations are being sensationalized. If convicted, Combs faces a potential life sentence for the racketeering charge, with additional statutory minimum sentences for the sex trafficking and transportation charges. As the trial continues, the entertainment industry and the public watch closely. The case not only challenges the legacy of a prominent figure but also brings to light the darker aspects of power and influence in the music world. The outcome will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications for all involved. As the Diddy trial unfolds inside the courtroom, a storm is brewing outside. Public opinion is divided, but one thing is clear. America is watching and the world is talking. One of the most glaring aspects of this case has been the near-total silence from Diddy's peers in the music industry. The same artists who once celebrated his influence are now eerily quiet. Is it fear? Loyalty? Or perhaps complicity in a culture that allowed this behavior to fester unchecked? Some voices, however, have spoken up. A handful of survivors' advocates, women's rights activists, and even a few former collaborators have expressed shock at the allegations and demanded accountability. Mainstream media has covered the trial with caution, often tiptoeing around the severity of the allegations. In contrast, independent platforms and true crime creators have gone deep, breaking down witness testimony, exploring patterns in Diddy's behavior, and asking the tough questions the mainstream seems to avoid. Some critics argue the media is giving Diddy leniency because of his status. But others say the real reason is darker: fear of lawsuits, backlash, or being blacklisted. On social media, millions have viewed clips of the trial, analyzing courtroom sketches, dissecting body language, and amplifying the voices of alleged victims. Hashtags like #JusticeForCassie and #SurvivingDiddy have trended, sparking discussions about power, silence, and survival. A growing number of users compare this case to the downfall of R. Kelly, arguing that once again the industry ignored the warning signs until it was too late. This isn't the first time Diddy's name has come up in serious accusations. Over the years, multiple lawsuits and NDAs have swirled around him. Some settled quietly, others dismissed. But now, under federal investigation, those skeletons are being re-examined. Legal experts say the pattern matters. Prosecutors are using past behaviors to show a consistent method of manipulation, control, and exploitation. Activists are calling for more than just a guilty verdict. They want full transparency. Who else knew, who helped cover it up, and what systems allowed this to continue for so long? Some are even questioning the role of the record labels, bodyguards, assistants, and party organizers, arguing that justice shouldn't stop with Diddy. If this was an organized operation, then those who enabled it must face consequences too. This trial isn't just about Diddy. It's about power. About how fame can silence victims. About how wealth can delay justice. And about a system that often fails the most vulnerable, until the damage is too deep to ignore. Many see this as a #MeToo moment for the hip-hop industry, an uncomfortable reckoning that's long overdue. Justice is more than a prison sentence. It's about truth. It's about giving victims their voices back. It's about dismantling the structures that protect predators and silence survivors. As the jury deliberates and the evidence continues to unfold, one question remains. Will justice be served, not just in the courtroom but in culture, in media, and in the music industry itself? Pause. Because if not now, then when? The trial of Sean Diddy Combs has captivated the nation, revealing a complex web of allegations that span decades. As the proceedings continue, the world awaits a verdict that could redefine accountability in the entertainment industry. Combs faces multiple federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for purposes of prostitution. If convicted on all counts, he could face life in prison. The severity of these charges underscores the gravity of the allegations and the potential consequences. Key testimonies have painted a disturbing picture. Cassie Ventura, Combs' former partner, detailed years of alleged abuse, including a violent 2016 assault corroborated by CCTV footage. Her mother, Regina Ventura, testified about paying Combs $20,000 to prevent the release of an explicit video, expressing fear for her daughter's safety. Former assistant David James described a toxic work environment, alleging that Combs traveled with a supply of drugs and maintained a kingdom where employees were expected to serve his every need. The public response has been intense. Social media platforms are flooded with discussions, with hashtags like #JusticeForCassie trending. Some celebrities have remained silent, while others, like Wendy Williams, have predicted a life sentence for Combs, citing past knowledge of his actions. Media coverage varies, with mainstream outlets providing cautious reporting, while independent journalists and true crime enthusiasts delve deeper into the case's intricacies. This trial is more than a legal proceeding, it's a cultural reckoning. It raises questions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry and the systems that allow abuse to persist. Advocates are calling for systemic changes to protect victims and hold perpetrators accountable, regardless of their status. As the trial progresses, the world watches closely. The outcome will not only determine Combs' fate but could also set a precedent for how similar cases are handled in the future. The pursuit of justice continues, with the hope that truth and accountability will prevail. Stay tuned for further updates on the Sean Diddy Combs trial. In our next installment, we'll explore the verdict and its aftermath. After months of gripping testimony, intense media coverage, and public scrutiny, the trial of Sean Diddy Combs has finally reached its conclusion. The verdict is in, and its implications stretch far beyond the courtroom. The jury found Sean Diddy Combs guilty on multiple counts, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation for the purpose of prostitution. The evidence was overwhelming: witness testimonies, physical evidence, and a pattern of abuse that spanned nearly 2 decades. At sentencing, prosecutors urged the court to impose the maximum penalties, citing the severity and prolonged nature of the crimes. Combs faced a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years to life in federal prison. The defense argued for leniency, pointing to his philanthropic work and lack of prior convictions. However, the judge emphasized the need for accountability and protection of vulnerable victims. The verdict sparked a tidal wave of reactions across the globe. Many survivors and advocates celebrated it as a victory for justice and a beacon of hope for victims of powerful abusers. On social media, hashtags like #JusticeServed and #accountability trended worldwide. Yet, some fans and supporters expressed disbelief, underscoring the complicated relationship between celebrity culture and accountability. The entertainment industry faced intense scrutiny. Several labels and partners quickly distanced themselves from Combs, signaling a shift in how allegations of abuse are handled in Hollywood and beyond. This case sent a clear message: fame and fortune do not grant immunity from justice. The Diddy trial has sparked broader conversations about abuse, consent, and power dynamics in the entertainment world. Advocates are calling for stronger protections, more transparency, and systemic reforms to prevent similar abuses in the future. Lawmakers have proposed new legislation aimed at safeguarding performers and workers from exploitation, changes inspired in part by this landmark case. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs may have ended in a courtroom, but its ripple effects will be felt for years to come. It stands as a reminder that justice can prevail, even against the most powerful, and that every voice deserves to be heard. Thank you for following this important story with us. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, justice begins with truth. Subscribe for more true crime stories.